Okay, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Tuesday painting stream, the nightly painting live stream. Super excited about tonight. Glad that you are joining us here. If we haven't met yet, my name's Corbin, and I'm the nightly painter. Try to paint every night, and yeah. It doesn't always happen, but perfection isn't the goal, progress is. So, excited about tonight, excited to paint together. I'm going to be working on some more towel stuff that you'll see on the desk here in just a minute. But yeah, in addition to being a live stream tonight, I'm just making these live Q&As as well. I love answering questions, seeing how I can help you. So, let me know what is on your mind. I already see that we have Francis in the chat. He says he has questions, so I'm ready to answer as best I can. Don't have all the answers, but more than willing to help you out. Send me a pic and have questions. Okay, let me see if I can go find that picture, and would love to answer those questions. Let me see. Yeah, as you're joining, hopping in, I see we've got a few people viewing right now. If you have questions about anything painting related, would love to help with that. I'm gonna search for Francis's photo here. See if I can't find that. Let's see. I hope everybody's doing well this Tuesday night. I actually live in Florida, and so we are gearing up for a little bit of a storm this week, which should be, fun. Hopefully it won't be too bad, and I am definitely sending my thoughts and prayers for everybody to be safe. Okay, let's see here. I see a couple of things from you, Francis. Okay, I see a Grimdark Lamenter. Okay. Yep. I see what you're going for. And I see some Inner Circle companions as well, which is super cool. I love the book that the one guy is holding. The big shield, of course, absolutely phenomenal. So, yeah, would love to know your questions. Tau stuff, nice. Yeah, what's up, Whammy Time, Phlogiston? Good to see you both in the chat. Yeah, let me see. I'll have to figure out. I'll have to figure out if I can figure out a way to show people's work on here if they're cool with it, because I think it would be good to maybe I'll do like a specific stream that's just people send in stuff and I can help answer questions and that kind of stuff. This is kind of on the fly. So yeah, Francis, would love to know what your questions are. I have your pics from Facebook up on here, so would love to hear your questions and see if I can't help you figure out your next step. So okay, yeah, I've got some these breachers have, well, the camera's not really going there. These breachers have been on the table for a while now, and they're collecting dust, and they must be finished. So that's what I'm going to work on tonight as we chat, as we talk. So, but yeah, I hope everybody's having a great Tuesday so far. It's been very busy. We've got sandbag stations going up. We got schools closing for Thursday already. It's funny. Some Floridians are like, "Oh, it's just another storm. Don't worry about it." And then other ones are like, "Oh my gosh, like, don't leave the house. Buy all the water from the stores." I used to live up north, and it was kind of the same way. Anytime a snowstorm came in, you knew the people that lived there and weren't worried about it because they can actually drive in the snow. But then the people who either weren't from there or didn't know how to drive were always worried about it. I get being prepared. I'm not trying to be cynical, but I just thought it was funny. Okay, let's see here. I'm going to try to expand the chat window here. Okay. All right. So, okay, phlogiston, what do you think about, instead of doing black and white with the red ink over it, instead doing a burgundy or reddish brown, like a Doom Bolt brown for the shadows? So I can tell you this. I think that would work. Why I think the black works is for the contrast. So red and brown are pretty similar and they're pretty close, and so I think you could definitely get away with a dark brown or a burgundy. My thought would be you may not get the contrast that you're looking for. Because what I've actually found that I have to do is go back in with, I believe it was a little bit of the Black Templar contrast paint. You could also use something like a Payne's Gray ink, which is kind of a purpley blue black. Or you could just use really thin black paint, whatever you want to use. Contrast paint works really well. I found that I had to go back in and recreate some of the shadows because the ink almost like wiped it out a little bit. So it really just depends on what kind of effect you're going for, phlogiston. I think if you're going for that high contrast, then you're probably going to want to go as high contrast as possible before you do the ink. Because even with that, I found myself having to come back and reinforce the shadows. So it's always worth doing a test model because you may find something that you really like. I think the burgundy or brown could really make it more rich. It's probably going to make it warmer, but may not give you that stylized dark shadows. Real, you're just not going to get the contrast, I don't think. I think, I've seen it work with like yellow, where you do like a pink and white, and then you come in and do the yellow over top. And so I've seen other colors work, but I feel like generally they are, sorry for the odds, y'all. I feel like generally they tend to be very different colors for that to work really well and for you to actually get that contrast. So that would be what I would say. I think doing a lighter red or a rose cream, again, it's just not going to get you as bright with those reds as the white in the pre-shade is. So it really just depends on how you want to tackle the contrast question. And not contrast as in contrast paint, but contrast as in how subtle or direct do you want the transition between your lightest point and your darkest points. So in the past, I used to do reds starting with Mephiston red, and then I would work up through, I think it was Evil's Hood Scarlet, yep, and then into, I think I ended up mixing in like Wild Rider or Fire Dragon Bright or something like that. I used all of the Games Workshop paints because that Mephiston red through the orange is actually really nice. It's a great paint and a great color transition, right? And then I would come back in and I would use the Payne's Gray for the shadows, and it worked. It was great. It looked good. It was just a lot more work, and it didn't turn out as bright, and the contrast wasn't as much by the time I got to the end of it. So it really just depends on what you're looking for. These yawns are ridiculous. I'm tired. But I think it just depends what you're going for. If you're going for the real, I think realistic, subtle look, then I think it could work phlogiston. If you're going I noticed the blends from 3 feet away, then you're probably going to want to do the black-white zenithal. So, all right, cool. Hopefully that is helpful, phlogiston. I think you can tackle it either way. It just depends on your preference and what you're looking for. So, whammy time. If you're still with us and you got some questions on painting stuff, feel free to throw them in. I'm gonna tackle Francis's questions here right now. So, okay. So Francis is working on a Grimdark Lamenter. I'm gonna see if I can't get this up for us here. Bear with me, y'all. Francis, if you'll just if you'll give me permission, I will throw your picture that you sent to me up here, and we can all look at it together. Because I think your questions are actually going to be really good, and it's going to take us through probably some really good tips here. So, but if you'll let me know if it's cool for me to throw your mini up here, then I will definitely do that. Let's see. This photo and have it ready for whenever we're good to go. Okay. All right, so whenever he's ready, we'll be good to go. Okay, Francis. He says, first question. I have Streaking Grime, Games Workshop washes going grim dark. How bright yellow should I go before discoloring? Okay. So the product that you're talking about, you said Streaking Grime. Yep. Okay. So Streaking Grime, this is what he's talking about right here. This stuff is like grimdark in a bottle. So you can kind of see on here the effect that it can have. What a lot of people end up doing, this is an enamel color, and it's used a lot in the scale modeling world. I think a lot of people tend to apply this pretty heavy and then rub a lot of it off. I think that's definitely one way to use it. I think you can thin it as well a little bit, or just apply it very directly and intentionally. If you are going to douse the model in it, which is what I see a lot of people do, and it gives great results, I think you go brighter rather than darker. That's just my 2 cents. It will not coffee stain in the sense like a Games Workshop wash would, but it will stain pretty much the entire model, even when you end up wiping some of it off, unless you gloss varnish before. So I think if you want it to do the discoloring, Francis, I think what you should end up doing is actually going brighter than you think you should. Like get it looking really clean, like that Imperial Fist bright yellow. Because really the idea behind the grimdark and the weathering of the model is that you take the initial thing, whatever it was, like off the factory line, armor is pristine, and then you are going to storytell with your weathering. And so you actually want to take the super clean product, right? So the armor is like he's just walking out of the Thunderhawk into battle, right? And then on top of all that, you want to add all of your grime and weathering. So, that's how I would go about it. I would go. I would give it that nice bright Lamenter's yellow, if it was me. Okay, so being yellow Lamenter, would I go with a cold skin or warm skin? This is probably taste. Generally, skin is warm. If I'm thinking about Space Marine chapters and cold skin, I'm probably something like a Blood Angels almost would feel like that cold vampire type skin might work. I think with a Lamenter you do actually do warm skin. It also depends on what skin tone you're going to be using. So if you're using just like a white Caucasian skin tone, are you doing more of a tanned skin? Are you doing darker skin tones? Like what's your thought on that? I think that there are probably two things that can work for you. I would say like a tanned, like a heavily tanned Caucasian could work. And then you could also, honestly, I think I think a really dark skin could work as well if that's something that you would be interested in tackling. And you can make it warm but dark. And I can suggest some colors to you if you'd like, that I used on one of my Black Templars, if that's would be of interest and help to you. The third question you had, sorry, I'm seeing that there's more chats here, but it's not letting me see them for some reason. Hold on, everybody. Okay, there it goes. Only a Blanchitsu, thinking cold skin would make it more Blanchitsu, Caucasian like Dorn. Okay, stubble beard, yep. Okay. Yeah, these are great questions. No questions, just painting while enjoying the stream. Awesome. Good whammy time. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to show this photo here. So hopefully you can see it on the screen now. Yeah, so there we go. This is the start of Francis's Grimdark Lamenter, and I think honestly this is a really good start. I like that you've left the head lighter. That's going to be extremely helpful for you. I also like the way that you've posed him, the arm that both of the arms that you've used, with the chainsword, with the helmet off, with just overall the pose is really nice. Let's see here. I don't know what's going on right now. Okay, there we go. All right, sweet. Okay, so it's actually all in sub-assembly still. Yeah, I see that you have him. You've got him. The main body is together, but you got the backpack over to the side, and you've got the back banner over there as well, which is cool. I'm personally a huge fan of sub-assemblies, so I think I would definitely go quite a bit brighter on the yellow, because you're gonna darken everything down like a ton, like so much when you use that streaking grime, and so I would be taking that to a really high level. I do think a cold skin tone could work, especially if you're trying to convey, like I know with the Lamenters, they just have such bad luck, and they can't win for losing, and so I think a cold skin tone could work. You can also do a warm skin tone and then bring the cool back into it with the stubble. So I know that gets at one of your other questions, doing the 5 o'clock shadow. So what I've seen people do, and what I've used a couple of times, is either a blue-gray, or just kind of a dark gray color, something like this color here. This is somber gray. Sorry, I'm trying to get it. Somber gray from Vallejo Game Color. I don't know if that's still available. I know they've changed ranges a little bit. Mechanica Standard Gray is a good one for stubble. And what you're going to do is you're going to bring that down to a glaze consistency, and you're just going to hit the parts that are the stubble. So if that's just around the facial hair area, if that's facial hair and the actual hairline, which it looks like for this guy that he's got kind of hair going back down the middle, and then maybe he would have some stubble on the sides. So you could always do that. You could also bring cold into it through his hair. If you wanted to do like a gray hair, like he's old, you could do like a white with a Griff Charger gray contrast could work. You could do the apothecary white contrast as well could work for that. Those could be ways, but generally you want old lamenters. That's not a thing. Yeah, they die before they get old, from what I hear. Yeah, I think you definitely could. There are ways to suggest a cold skin without necessarily pulling the life out of it. Because when you think about skin, like our blood is flowing underneath all of the skin, and so generally living beings have a more warm undertone to their skin. So yeah, it just depends on what you want to convey there. I think you definitely could do it. I would suggest there's a guy named Vincent Ventruella on YouTube. He has a lot of really great skin tutorials, especially faces. It's something that I'm still working to get better at. But yeah, definitely you could do either warm or cold, and you'd be able to get away with it. Okay, so cloth. Easier to do bone cloth than white. Yes, 100%. It's easier to do bone cloth than white. If you have that particular piece of cloth that's separate and you can spray it white, then that helps you a lot. But if you've got to brush paint it, then it's just going to be tough. But also brush painting yellow is tough as well. So, might just be a project that you are just like, well, I'm leaning in and we're going for it, and you give it your best shot and you go from there. Really, it just takes a lot of layering. But yeah, I would say don't be afraid. Like I know a lot of people. A lot of people do the kind of Games Workshop method where it's base color, shade, highlight, additional highlight. In my opinion, with cloth, a lot of times it's a back and forth. You're going to end up painting more layers than just maybe the 3 or 4. And you want to just go really subtle, and you want to, as you build up the highlights, you're just going to highlight less and less, and you're going to want to determine a light source as well. So kind of where your light's coming from and how that would reflect on the cloth. So all of those things are things to think about. But if that's more in depth than you want to go with this project too, you can keep it simple. Really, the things that are going to stand out is that yellow armor. Lamenters are known for their checker patterns. So the black and white checker pattern, would be a key feature of Lamenters. And then, yeah, the dead librarian on the base. I mean, poor guy. But as a Black Templar player, I'm not sorry. Filthy witch. Chipping with the brush or before or after streaking grime or both. Okay, so I would say that the streaking grime is probably going to be your very last step. Because, and this is up to interpretation as well. I'll tell you what I would do, but I'll give you kind of my thought process on it. You can kind of do, there's a lot of different types of chips that you could do. I think old chips are going to go underneath the streaking grime. New chips are going to go over top of it. And what I mean by that is if you have old, rusty, brown chipping that you're planning on doing with a brush, I would do that before you do the streaking grime, or before you do, like, I do an oil wash on my Black Templars. I would do all of those chips before. That way everything gets kind of solidified and unified by the streaking grime. If you are doing some like bright silver chipping on top of some of those older brown chips, I would do that after the streaking grime. And my thought process on that is streaking grime is kind of one of those things where it's like, this has seen some better days. It's been some wear and tear. You've been in the battlefield for a while. So old chipping, or the initial chipping of the initial fighting, would probably have happened before all of that wear and tear really built up on the armor. And then as you take more battle damage and the things are fresh, right? Then you're gonna want to denote those with probably some kind of bright silver. I know a lot of people don't like doing the armor chipping for Space Marines in silver because of ceramite or whatever, but I think it does fine and it looks good, and that's what matters. So I think that's the order of operations I would do for that one. Dirt or so the dead librarian on the base, what kind of dirt or mud color do you think would be best? I would stick with browns and stuff. Probably a more neutral brown, to be honest. Not a warm brown, but a neutral brown. That will make your warm yellow armor stick off of the base. But it will also tie the environment in with the weathering that you're going to do with the streaking grime and the chipping. So you could do city if you wanted to, like that kind of gray cityscape type of look, but I would find some ways to include a brown in that, even if it's like patchy browns on the base. That way everything unifies together and he looks like he's in the environment that he's been fighting in and where he got all of that wear and tear on his armor, if that makes sense. Light gray Gray scratches, silver over black for deep scratches. Okay. Gray ash mud. Okay, so I'm gonna try and catch up here, Francis. Stubble beard, I got that. I got this image of him in the rain standing over and lamenting his fallen battle brother. Okay. Alright. Okay. So, you're going to want to go really subtle with the streaking grime. And what I mean by that is I want you to put it in very specific places on the mini. So, think about the grooves in the pauldrons, around the gorget section of his armor. I want you to kind of put it along the bottom where the neck piece meets the chest plate. I want you to put it in there, and then I want you to pull that down like it's streaking down. Yeah, and just find how to get it into the recesses without fully covering the entirety of the armor. I think that's actually going to give you the idea that like he's got a bunch of grime on his armor, but it's raining and it's kind of washing some of that off, and it's streaking, the grime is streaking down the armor. So just like you see on the back of this, that type of effect is actually probably what you're going to want to go for, rather than that all over streaking grime. So I think you go a lot more specific about where you put those, and that's actually going to help you get the effect that you want. Then you're going to be able to tie in some of that with the stubble on his head and I think I'm understanding more of the mood that you want to go with. So I think what you could actually do is add just a little bit of Francis, do you use any pigment powders, or are you interested in using any pigment powders for this? Because if so, this could really help your basing and how you're going to tie the mini in to that. But yeah, I think basically I would paint the entire model the way you want it to be, and then you're going to do your chipping, your first layer of chipping, which you could you could use a light gray for your armor chipping. I would suggest using a highlight color to your yellow, even if you desaturate it with like a white instead of a ivory type of color. I think you can kind of basically just desaturate the yellow and use that as your chipping, and it's gonna give you that kind of grayish vibe. But I don't think a light gray would stand out on a yellow armor very well. That's just my 2 cents. Obviously, you go for whatever you want to go for there. But then, yeah, I would use either a black or a brown for your actual scratches and chipping. If you have some, like, I'm trying to see if I have any of it, but like sponge, this type of stuff. This pluck foam. If you have any of this stuff works great for getting random chips across a model. I use those quite a bit for my Black Templars, I have foam. Okay, good. So that stuff works great. Or you can just go in with the brush and chip away, and that will be a lot more precise. So, yeah. But yeah, basically what I would do is I would use that method where you go in with the dark chips and you kind of get those where you want them, and then you can add lighter chips in wherever you want, but then kind of come up underneath some of those darker chips and just kind of outline the bottom edge, and it's going to make it look like it's actually kind of taken a ding off of the armor, and there's like a little lip where the light is catching from the armor color where the rest of the paint should be. So yeah, that's what I would do. Gray ash mud, wash with a gray glaze, and just use grime for dirtiness. I think you could wash with a gray. I don't know that that's quite gonna give the effect that you want it to. You could gloss the mini. You could use a gloss to make it look like it's shiny because it's wet. The armor. Yeah, I haven't looked into a whole lot about how to make a miniature feel like it's standing in the rain. So I'll have to think about that some more and get back to you. I think. I think you center them up a little more on the base. But I don't think you need to go too much further in. So, yeah. Okay. These are great questions, Francis. Thanks for trusting me to help you out with that. Hopefully the answers were useful to you. These are just my opinions and what I've learned over the years. So take it with a grain of salt. But I like the weathering stage of minis and trying to put them in their environment. So I think there's a lot of great products out there, but really you just kind of have to think about what do I want to do with the miniature? What story do I really want to tell? So, going back up a little bit, Phlogiston is saying that makes a lot of sense because before he did Corn Red and then Wazdaka, then Squig Orange, then Luggenoth Orange before Flesh Tears. Okay, yeah, it's a lot of work for not quite the same level of contrast that you would get, and so that's why I don't want to tell you it's wrong because it's not. You still get a great result, but I just when I found this recipe, I was like, that was way more simple and honestly more fun with less steps. So I was pretty much sold instantly. So yeah, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad that was helpful, Francis. You paint your own tabletop standard most of the time, but this is a one-off model, so I'm gonna try some extra. Yeah, hey, go for it. I mean, from what I'm seeing, from what you've sent me here on social media, like your inner circle, or your, I forget what the unit's called, the companions, the Dark Angels companions models, they look good. They look good. So you have a good standard for sure. Phlogiston with only 2 colors and then the ink, you could bang out a lot of models in one go too. Yeah, you can. And what I basically have tried to do is I've kept a baseline like reference piece. One of the it's actually an extra weapon from the Cold Star Commander that I've painted up, and this just gives me a reference for how many layers I need to do of the ink to get the right brightness on the armor. And so I've just kept a test piece there and gone with that. And so now whenever I go to do a new unit, I do the entire unit at the same time with the reds, and I put the same amount of layers on each model, and I try to match it with my reference. So it looks different once there's other paint on the mini. So that's why I try to keep the reference of something that has no additional paint on it. It's just the basic airbrushed look, and that helps me to kind of match them up and make sure I'm not putting 6 layers of ink on this unit and only 3 on another. Inner circle companion, 6 inner circle companions and 6 blade guard. Nice. Yeah, they look good. They look really good, Francis. Whammy time. Yes, I appreciate another Black Templars player in the chat. Let's go. Dawnstone's a great color for edge highlights. Yep. Yeah, any of the grays work really well on black. For mine, obviously, I went with more of a blue black, I guess. So the Mechanicus Standard Gray worked for mine. But yeah, no, that's cool. That's cool. All right, I'm gonna hop over to my camera here, and let's see if I can do a little painting and continue to answer some of your questions here. I've got about 20 more minutes on the stream tonight, so yeah, Francis, in about like 15 minutes or so, send me that picture, and we'll throw it up. All right. Jumping over here, I got a fresh wet palette after those Kroot. Man, oh man. Did some experimenting with those Kroot. Love how they came out. Excited for the next 10 whenever those get going. So, all right. Let's see what we got going on here. Push that up a little bit. There we go. Okay. What to tackle today? I think what I'm going to do is work on some of the grays. On these guys. So I'm going to be pulling out some Eshin Gray. Yeah, phlogiston. That's what I'm telling you, man. And it's 3 layers. It's 3 layers. So I mean, it's the red is literally black, white zenithal, red ink. That's it. And then obviously an edge highlight once I get to that stage. But yeah, it really stands out. And that's what I was saying earlier about the if you're going for the subtlety, then, which is a valid thing, like you can definitely be subtle with it and still have a great looking model. So I do want to make sure that's said. But if you're going for that, like, hey, I want somebody to walk over because they see my stuff on the table, and from 3 feet away without picking up anything, they're like, dude, how did you do XYZ? Then that's that red. So honestly, I'm still working out what I really want to use for the highlights. I've tried a couple of different things. Fletcher uses something specific. I don't have that color. I haven't bought that color. And so I'm working on it. It's a mix of Mephiston red and sorry, I'm trying to work on these. It's a mix of Mephiston red right now, Mephiston red, and this Mars orange. You want to lean more into the orange than the rose. So that's what I'll say. You know, it might have been more the Evil Sun Scarlet, actually. Now that I'm thinking about it. So I've got this Eshin Gray pretty thin, and I'm actually doing here is kind of like, it's not quite a glaze, but it's kind of a really painterly, so to speak, style that I'm using. It's not very precise, and I'm just trying to kind of get it on there. And then when I come back and do the highlights on those gray parts, they'll stand out nice. But just trying to get a little variation across the models. White process for the helmets. Yeah, so you'll be able to see this in an upcoming video, actually, because I am gonna do a video of the Pathfinders that I painted. I'm currently working on the editing for that. But yeah, so it is 2 colors through the airbrush. So you start off with black for the helmet. So I do not pre-shade white on the helmets. I leave those off in subassembly, and I come back to those. So I do black, then I hit most of it with this cold gray color, and then I come on and hit the front part of the helmet and more the upward facing parts of the helmet with this Vallejo white gray, and then I'll come back in later on with this mixed with pure white for edge highlights. So hopefully that was a decent enough explanation. busy weekend and busy start to the week too. So I am grateful for some painting time. Any Games Workshop equivalents for those? Let's see here. Dawnstone for this one. This is my Dawnstone equivalent. And either Administratum Gray, or wow, where are some of my paints? Either Administratum Gray or Ulthuan Gray would probably be one where it's like that very white gray. I gotta say, I'm not super fond of the coverage on this Eshin Gray. Not my favorite. The color's nice, but it takes more coats than usual for Games Workshop's paints. I'm not sure why that is. Our leader guy. I don't know if the Breacher teams have I don't know if they have a leader in their unit anymore. I'm sure they probably do. Okay. Yeah, it's honestly, phlogiston, that's part of why I tend not to buy stuff secondhand, is because I subassemble everything. And it's more expensive, but I just, the headache in the painting stage of things, a lot of that goes away when I can build it myself and decide the sub-assemblies on my own. Let's sound off who all we got in the chat right now. If you are watching the video, go ahead and drop where you are watching from and what you're working on in the chat. trying to bring back up one of the docs. It's not looking good for me to figure that out. So, all right. Oh, and I just did another one. Oh boy. Y'all, I'm gonna have to learn this. I have to learn this a little better. I can guess what you are doing, Phlogiston. I can guess that you are printing away, my friend. If so, what are you printing? Whammy time! Howdy from Texas. Nice. Working on your first character model, a Black Templar Marshal. Very nice. Very nice. Love it. Here, good. All right. Okay, let's see here if I do that one. In there. Okay, there we go. I like that. We got it now. Be more specific than that. Are you printing Kroot? I would like for you to be printing Kroot. Or at least Tau of some kind. Your oh my goodness, what's her name? I'm forgetting what the Shadow Sun. Your Shadow Sun came out really well. This was probably my favorite pose out of this whole unit. He's like, I'm running at you and I'm just to blast you. I don't know if that's really a correct rifle holding position, but it looks cool, so that's what matters. Removing supports, the same thing you do every night. Yeah, I guess after you print, you gotta remove all those supports. Yeah, no, we gotta get you painting again, Phlogiston. See some phenomenal tau red on those nicely printed suits. Yeah, these drones are pretty cool, even though I don't really know what they do in the game anymore, but they seem cool. Little turret drones. Anybody pre-order the new Kill Team? I did not, but I know a lot of people are hype about the new Kill Team. Drone looks like an Instapot. You're not wrong. All right, Francis, how we looking? If you can get me a photo in the next couple of minutes here, I'll throw it up on the screen to end our stream. I was bummed that I didn't get to stream on Sunday. Thanks everybody for being so cool about it. It was a very busy weekend. Yeah, yellow. Which yellow are you using, Francis? Everland Sunset, nice. Classic yellow. It's a great looking yellow too. Tell you what though, contrast paints have changed the way I do yellow. Red Tau, yep. Going Farsight Enclaves. What's up, JP? It's good to see you. Good to see you in the chat. What you working on tonight? Yeah, I don't necessarily know that Tau wear their colors to act as camouflage. I don't think they do that. They would probably need less white helmets and red armor and more camo. They actually wanted to be stealthy. Oh, very nice. Yep, I'll throw it out to anybody that's still on the stream right now. JP has his own channel and has some. You've been streaming for a while, if I remember correctly. A couple of years, yeah, I think. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, he's got a channel. He does some streams. Go check him out. Always love supporting other hobbyists as well. Coming up on 3 years, nice. And working on the Cave Troll from WizKids, nice. A raid function. You'll have to explain that one to me. I'm not sure what that is. Sounds cool. Every time I hear raid, it makes me, it takes me back to some days with my buddies doing Destiny 1 and 2 raids. Those were the days. Those were the days. Staying up way too late. Doing the same thing over and over again, thinking it'll work the next time, because it has to work the next time. Didn't work the other 892 times we tried it, but it's got to work the next one. I don't know if there's any other Destiny fans in the chat. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it is a great way to support other people. Yeah, whammy time. Oh yeah. Guys, I know we can get it. I know we can get it just this one more time. The number of hours me and 5 other people spent staring at our screens trying to defeat the Taken King in the raid in the first Destiny. I would not even want to know the number of hours. But boy, is it good memories. You get like war stories out of it too, you know, so it's pretty funny. Okay. All right. Gonna switch back over here. All right. Well, hey everybody! Thank you for jumping in tonight. I'm gonna call it here. I gotta put a little a little end time on some of these streams because I don't know about you guys, but I got work in the morning. So I love doing this though. Super fun. Love chatting it up with you guys. Yeah. So Francis, Phlogiston, JP, Whammy Time. Super grateful for all of you jumping in, chatting with me tonight. I'm glad I can answer some questions as well. Super good to be able to have some Q&A time, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. I'm excited for more and more of these, and to just keep going on that regular schedule. So Tuesdays, Thursdays, and I think I'm gonna keep Sundays. We'll see. It'll probably just depend on the week. That one might be more flexible. But yeah, and then I'm also thinking about doing, and I'll plug it here, but I'm thinking about doing a Discord only streaming time as well, where maybe I can actually pull some of you guys in, and we can all have chat together, not just through this, but we can actually talk to each other, which would be fun. So thinking about that. I will throw the Discord invite in here. Let's see. For anybody that's watching this and isn't commenting and would want to join our Discord, here it is. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, there we go. So yeah, trying to finish editing the Tau Pathfinders video for this weekend. I'm hoping to have that out on Saturday. Fingers crossed. We'll see if it actually gets done or not. Probably depends on whether I'm home during the storm or not this Thursday. So we'll see. I kind of hope I'm not, because that means it went right by us or wasn't nearly as bad. But yeah, this is fun, y'all. Thanks for joining, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.